Seton, what's the poll question for the first hour? And then we'll dive into the Golden State Warriors.
Well, I think we start with the Warriors. Paulie sent one over. If I were Klay Thompson and I had these two offers, which one would I take?
Okay.
2 years for $30 million, and you could play for the Wizards, Hornets, Blazers. 2 years, $12 million to play for the Warriors.
Well, I think he's going to want more. Well, he'll obviously want more than that. The question is, if you said to him, here's 2 years for $40 million, maybe throw in some incentives in there, would he take that to stay at Golden State? Or do you get greedy and say, I won my titles, I'm a Hall of Fame player, I'm going to get a little bit more money, maybe I go to Orlando. You know, a team on the rise, I could be a veteran there, I could help them. You know, I don't know if they're a very good three-point shooting team. I don't think they are. Maybe you could bring Klay in there and he could have that role there. But if I'm Klay Thompson, I've made $250 million, I'm a Hall of Famer, do I really want to uproot and go to another team, another city, another system, not have the luxury of playing with Steph Curry? And, you know, it's tough for him because he was a star, he was a starter, then he lost his starting role, gained it back, and then he didn't score last night. And they got blown out by Sacramento. Does Golden State want him back? No matter what the price is, do they want him back? They're stuck with Draymond Green. Maybe stuck is not, you know, an accurate word, but that's how I view it. They're stuck with him. But Klay is an unrestricted free agent. You got Chris Paul's contract on the books there. You know, Steph at 36, he was okay last night. You know, give Sacramento credit. They played really good defense. They're a good defensive team. They're still a fun team to watch. You know, they get lost in the California shuffle, but they are a fun team to watch. They have a lot of talent. You win by 24, and, you know, they struggled down the stretch, or they would have been probably a 5 seed. I mean, they're a dangerous, team going into the postseason if they happen to advance. But, you know, watching the Pelicans last night with Zion, it almost feels like that's a microcosm of Zion Williamson. Wow. And then, and you hope there's not that Anthony Davis feel of, you know, when he played, you know, when he was healthy, and you kind of get that feeling with him. But he was the best player on the floor, and he was not afraid. But you had a big stage here, and this might have been the coming out party, maybe the coming out party for Zion, because we saw him when he was great. That was in college. We saw some moments his first year. And then he sort of went away, and we thought maybe he was going to be a bust. But he came back. He played well, played in a lot of games this year for New Orleans. And New Orleans probably wins that game if he stays in. I mean, it just felt like they had no answer for him, and he was not afraid, and he was taking it to the Lakers. But the Lakers do win. They advance. Back to Golden State. Here is Draymond Green talking about the future of the Golden State Warriors.
They've shown nothing but respect, loyalty, love, trust to us. So I got no reason to go into it like, oh, man, they're not going to do right by Klay. They did right by me. They've done right by Steph. They've done right by all of us. You know, Klay tore his ACL. They paid him $160 million. So I have no reason to think that our ownership group aren't going to take care of us the way we've taken care of this organization.
All right, here's Steph Curry on the future of Klay Thompson and Draymond Green.
I could never see myself, not with those two guys. I understand this league changes and there's so many things that go into it, and we're not going to play forever, but, we've experienced so much together, and at the end of the day, again, I know they want to win, I know I want to win, and that's all I worry. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, they're going to take a little time, obviously, and they might have already made up their mind of what they were going to do next year, win or lose last night. Do you want to keep Klay Thompson, and at what price? Chris Paul with his contract, you can be creative with that. Is Kuminga ready to be a star? That's part of the problem too. I might hold on to Klay and Dre But I think, there's a kicker that is attached to Draymond Green. If he gets traded, he gets money out the door as well. Now, he's not costing you, an exorbitant amount, but can you get Klay Thompson a 2-year, $50 million deal? Is that prudent for this team? And I'd probably hold on to Klay one more year if I don't feel like their younger players are ready. Wiggins, I would try to trade, but I don't know what you're going to get. I mean, 2 years ago, he was great, but I don't know what you're going to get for him. And that would be, can you make one more run for Steph Curry? What's it going to cost you? And I think that's the question you have to ask. Because if you have Steph, and Steph's going to cost you $55 million, and you still have Draymond Green there, do you bring back Klay and say, let's try it one more time? I guess that would be probably the decision that they'll have to mull over here. But Steph can't continue to be Steph. Like, at some point, there's going to be that somebody's got to be maybe the guy who takes over and lets Steph be a complimentary player. I mean, LeBron's been waiting for AD to do this, and it's not going to happen. So LeBron's like, oh, damn, I got to carry everybody up and down the floor here? Yeah, probably so. And Steph may say the same thing. My God, Klay, make a shot. Like, somebody help me here. They whiffed on Wiseman. Jordan Poole, that didn't do well at the very end. Should they have signed up Draymond Green? Well, they're being loyal. I mean, we talk about ownership and lack of loyalty. There's been loyalty, but it's a business. And that's where I come in, and that's where a player should understand. And it is business. And is it better business for Golden State to move on from Chris Paul, from Wiggins, Klay Thompson? Can you restock? Can you get younger? Can you get maybe somebody who can help Steph Curry get one more title? Because you spent a lot of money. Nobody spends more money than Golden State. But you didn't get your money's worth for a 10 seed that's now out of the playoffs. Yeah, Paul.
You mentioned Wiseman. If you go back 4 years ago when they had that all-injury season where Steph had the wrist and Klay was out for the year and a half, they stumbled into the number 2 pick of the draft, and Wiseman didn't work out at all. They were one pick away from having Anthony Edwards. What would that have done to have him as that next unit to start and then take over? They could have had LaMelo Ball. They passed on. They passed on Tyrese Halliburton, who knew at the time, but imagine if they had taken him, or Tyrese Maxey. Yeah. They went with the big guy. If they would have gotten any of those players in that draft, it would have, the transition, can you imagine?
Yeah. And, it used to be when all else fails, go big. Like with your draft pick, like you can't fail, go for a big man. And that's not the NBA anymore. When they went after Wiseman, who I thought was unproven, he showed glimpses at Memphis, but I'm like, okay, the number 2 overall pick. And you're like, yeah. I go, okay. And Jay Billis, I remember Jay saying, hey, I like him. I just didn't see it. Anthony Edwards, I saw somebody who was explosive. Halliburton, I watched in college, but I got to be honest, I didn't think like, wow, that guy's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. Then I saw him in Sacramento, and I go, that guy's a star. It's like Sabonis. I didn't get it when he was at Gonzaga, and then I got it, and I'm like, wow, it's not a fluke. He knows how to play. But that's tricky when you're drafting these players, when you draft them, and what you expect from them, and how they sort of ingratiate themselves into a lineup. Who can you get that will come in and all of a sudden understand their role with the Golden State Warriors? And that'll be tricky. But, that's a dynasty. Golden State was a dynasty. Can they still hold on by their fingertips and be a dynasty? What other poll questions are we looking at today, Seton? By the way, first hour brought to you by Meguiar's new hybrid ceramic wash and wax in a bucket or a foam cannon. Boost protection with extreme water-beating technology the next time you wash your car or truck. Meguiar's, reflect your passion. All right, Seton.
I think, too, like just to stick with the Warriors for a minute, but you shipped Jordan Poole out, which is like a chemistry thing, but you brought in a dude that's 37 to replace him to an already old roster. Clearly time is catching up to that group, right?
But they won 27 of their last 39 games. And it felt like, okay, maybe the band's together and maybe one more tour, victory tour. And then all of a sudden you see running into a Sacramento team that underachieved at the end of the season, but then got it right last night. And a lot of these teams, you feel like, they just kind of flicked the switch. Well, I don't think Golden State can do that. Not anymore, because we saw that with Klay. Go back to last year. I think their closeout game. He didn't have a good game. This is where Klay's got to give you 20, 25. Draymond, it's got to contribute, in a variety of, categories in the box score. And then you have to get some help with your bench. I mean, that's what you're waiting for. Who emerges, and is that enough to kind of prop up Steph Curry where maybe can win another title?